Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker for the day is going to be Dr. Mourad. Dr. Mourad holds a PhD degree in management from Japan. He is an assistant professor of entrepreneurship and strategic management in King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Saudi Arabia. He is a writer in Rawad Al-Amal magazine. He was also shortlisted as one of the best entrepreneurship mentors in Arab world by Arabian Business Startup Awards in 2016, 2017 and 2019 in the category of Mentor of the Year. Let's go ahead and welcome Dr. Mourad on board.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be with you today in this conference about smart schools, Saudi Arabia. I'm Dr. Mourad Mansour. I'm assistant professor of entrepreneurship and strategic management in King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, with almost 18 years of experience in teaching, education, and curriculum development in many of these academic development activities. So I will be glad today to talk about a very important topic that, over the recent years, though there had been a lot of changes in our world, especially the rapid advances in technology, the shift for, to economies based on knowledge, and the emphasis that are required to maybe to thrive up in the education students, and to go and that lead to a lot of changes in the learning process. So I will talk about inquiry-based learning, constructivist approach of learning. I think now schools and education systems around the world, they have to consider again their design and approach to teaching and learning. Schooling, teaching, and most especially the learning will look much more differently in this rapid changing world. Yes, we talk about smart, we will talk about technology, but also the way we deliver our curriculum, our teaching, all will be also changes in the next years. According to the OECD, in their report about innovation in learning environment, the science of learning will underscore the importance of rethinking what is taught, how it is taught, and how learning should be assessed. So they put in place 7 principles of learning with first of all, the learners should be at the center of this. So the learning environment will recognize the learners as its core participants. They encourage their active engagement and develops them in an understanding of their own activity as learners. Second, the social nature of learning. Okay, so there will be more emphasis on the social nature of learning. Okay, and here we actively encourage well-organized cooperation or cooperative learning. The third are the learning professionals within the learning environment are highly attuned to the learners' motivations and the key role of their emotions in achievement. The fourth one, it is the learning environment is acutely sensitive to the individual differences among the learners in it, including their prior knowledge. So here we recognize the differences between students, especially between people. The fifth, it is the learning environment will devise programs that demand hard work and challenges from all, but without excessive workload. The sixth, it is about the assessment. Okay, so here we need to operate with clarity of expectation, using assessment strategies that we should be consistent with all the expectation that we want from the learners. There is a strong emphasis on the formative feedback, especially feedback, to have always that feedback between the learner and the teacher to support, the operation of learning. And finally, the learning environment will strongly promote horizontal connections across areas of knowledge and subjects, as well as to the community and the wider world. And they continue with what they call the building blocks of innovative learning environment. So there should be a lot of cooperative, learning, and students work together and should be responsible for one another learning as well as their own learning. Also, what we call service learning. Education will engage students in community service that is integrated with the learning objectives of the core academic curricula. We talk about also experiential approach. We provide students with experiential or learning experiences based on authentic real-world situation in their community. Also, learning with technology, and we cannot ignore the role of technology nowadays. There are a lot of available tools of building blocks, in effective learning environment, and we should use them. Also, what we call formative evaluation. This will guide learners to better outcomes by providing feedback that will continually inform the learner, the teacher, and the learning itself. So it will target towards questions like, where are the learners in their learning? Where are the learners going? What needs to be done to get them there? Homeschooling partnership, the home is always our first and highly influential learning environment. So we need to build good connection between the school and the home, which is very vital, to the learner success. And I think now within the corona, with the online, we felt this, and maybe it will go certain circumstances, it will be the norm. Inquiry-based approach, the last one, and maybe this will be the talk about today. Students need opportunities to develop higher order cognitive skills. So for this, very important context to do this through the inquiry-based approach. So we engage students, we let them collaborate, research, manage the resource development in a very ambitious performance of product. And this will lead to the definition of inquiry-based learning. Before that, I have visited the companies that are related to this event, and one company stopped me because they have in their video the similar things that I will talk about today. And they said that one thing is clear in, let's say, in most of the education system, there is too much focus on exams, not on learning. And this will result in students being afraid to ask questions, follow their curiosity, and lack of inquisitiveness. This is due to the lack of, I don't maybe mention what experience of teachers, but the constructivist pedagogy and the self-learning. So what is inquiry-based learning? It is a learning process that engages students by making real-world connections through exploration and high-level questioning. So students will identify and research issues and questions to develop knowledge or solution. It is generally used in small-scale investigations and projects, as well as in research. So in general, it is generally used, it covers a range of pedagogical approaches that will challenge students with investigative work, So they will address questions and they try to solve problems. It is student-centered, it is a teacher-guided instructional approach, and it will complement the traditional instruction by providing a vehicle for extending and applying the learning of students in a way that will connect them with their interest with a broader thematic framework. So we have the traditional approach, concept introduction, practice application, etc. Then we have this inquiry, exploration, invention, and discovery. Inquiry, it is a constructivist concept. This was initiated by the theory by Jean Piaget. He viewed constructivism as a way of explaining how people come to know the world around them. We need to children need to think differently than they think. Actually, they think differently than adults. They are naturally active learning. They do not need motivation from adults to learn. And also children construct and store new knowledge while doing through different cognitive stages. Another research or theory which was initiated by Jerome Bruner, the American psychologist. He was he made contribution to the cognitive learning theory in educational psychology, and he's one of the fathers of constructivist theory. So he said that discovery learning takes place in problem-solving situations where the learner draws on his or her own past experience and existing knowledge to discover facts and relationship to the new things to be learned. Inquiry is not so much about seeking the right answer. It is about seeking appropriate resolutions to questions and different issues. For that, for learning to be inquiry-based, we have some characteristics: engagement with a simple or complex problem or scenario, usually open-ended to allow a variety of responses or solutions. Tasks need to stimulate interest in the students, encouraging them to actively explore and seek out new evidence. The students also, they are responsible to analyze and present their finding with evidence. Learning will take place in a social context. So here the students will learn from each other, together with other, and from also those outside of the classroom context. There is an assumption that understandings are temporal and are constantly reviewed and refined on the basis of new learning and questions, etc. We have the traditional classroom, the chalk and talk, traditional science education. We focus on facts, what we know. There is a direct transfer from the teacher to the students. His role is to give knowledge and the students just receive knowledge. This will not be the case today with the inquiry-based learning, because we focus on how we know what we know. So we look at evidences and we try to have the transfer of knowledge. So here the instructor is just a facilitator, and the students is an active, and the investigator. So inquiry is something that students do and not something that is done to them according to the inquiry and the national science education standards in the United States. If we take the differences between the traditional classrooms and the constructivist classrooms, the curriculum is present part to the whole with emphasis on basic skills, but curriculum is present whole to part with emphasis on big concepts. Strict adherence to a fixed curriculum is highly valued, but here the students will pursue questions and is very highly valued. Curricular activities rely heavily on textbooks and workbooks. but in the constructivist, curricular activities rely heavily on primary sources of data and manipulative materials. Students are viewed as blank slates, okay, where we put information in this black maybe slates or slots. Students are viewed as thinkers with emerging theories about the world. Teachers generally behave in a didactic manner, disseminating information to students. But in the constructivist, teachers generally behave in an interactive manner, mediating the environment. So the students primarily they work alone, but here primarily work in groups. So this is, you know, the difference in the traditional and the constructivist, okay, you know, classroom. Sorry. The 5 E's model of the structural model, okay, of IBL, the engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So in the engage, in the stage, you want to create interest and generate curiosity. It's very important that this curiosity you get from the students and any topic, okay, of study. You raise questions, okay, and try to elicit the responses from the students that will give you an idea of what they already know. In the explore stage, students should be given opportunities to work together without direct instruction from the teacher, and they should act, okay, you know, the teacher should act as a facilitator, helping students to frame questions by asking questions and observing. In the explain, okay, the students and the teacher are provided with common terms relative to the learning task, and the teacher will direct, okay, students' attention to specific aspects of the engagement and exploration, okay, experiences. And the elaboration, apply concepts and skills in a new but similar situation and use formal labels and definitions. The evaluation should take place throughout the learning experience. We need to observe students' knowledge and skills, application of new concepts, and a change in their thinking. So students should assess their own learning, ask open-end questions, and look for answers that use observation, evidence, and previously accepted, okay, explanation. Some criteria for a successful inquiry, okay, start with the guided exploration of a topic as a whole, proceed to students' small group inquiry about an open and debatable content issue, encourage students to ask personally relevant and socially significant questions, work in groups to ask personally relevant and socially significant questions, working groups, to achieve diversity of views, predict set goals, define outcomes, find or create information, okay. Instruction serves as a guide to help students take action in the end. There are levels, okay, in the inquiry, the types of inquiry, you know, it can be broken down into 4 levels based on the amount of information and guidance the teacher will provide to the students according to Banchi and Bad. So the levels range from limited inquiry, okay, or a confirmation until, okay, the open inquiry, which is, you know, the least guided inquiry. So students are expected to practice limited and structured inquiry in order to develop the necessary skills to eventually perform guided and then open inquiry. They become more independent in their learning as they progress from limited inquiry to open inquiry. And the limited, okay, students confirm a principle through an activity when the results are known in advance. The structured students investigate a teacher presented question through a prescribed procedure, and the guided, they investigate a teacher presented question using, you know, student designed selected procedures. And in the last one, students will investigate questions that are student formulated through, okay, their own procedure. The next, this is also in the different activities and the pre-lab, okay, who is responsible, okay, and the lab and post-lab. You see that students will will take over, okay, the activities from the teachers. There are many models of inquiry-based learning, starting from Harvard, 2004, based on 10 processes, or a process with 10 steps, starting by questions, observing, defining the problem, forming the questions, investigating, okay, the known, articulating the expectation, carrying out the study until in the end, communicating with others. Then came Justice and his colleagues, okay, with taking responsibility for learning. So the self-reflection and self-evaluation, we engage the topic, develop question, anticipate possible answers, and determining relevant information, identify resources, gathering information, assessing the information until, okay, we evaluate the success. We have another, the Brunner, okay, in 2013, with the process of posing real questions, finding resources, interpret information, and report finding. This process was modified to increase, to add this third, step, which is the experiment, okay, or the explore, and these are the elements of each of these, okay, steps. The advantages, flexible and adaptable to a variety of projects, helps to build self-esteem, reinforce and build several skills of students, and it will, okay, work within any age or group. Advanced don't work for all science topics, require more planning, preparation, okay, and educators must be skilled in helping students to learn the art of asking a good question. How can we plan for it? Okay, so start, okay, start slow. You don't need, maybe probably shouldn't start by transforming a very traditional course entirely into basic learning or inquiry-based learning. Maybe you need to do it, step by step. Okay, then anticipate and plan for some student resistance. Okay, be careful, be cautious about simply adding more work to your class through inquiry-based projects without removing comparable time commitment for students. A plan to solicit frequent anonymous feedback to catch any problem while they are small. To properly guide, mentor, coach, and facilitate students' inquiry process. This requires knowledge and skills about the pedagogy of inquiry-based learning. Immerse yourself in this learning process, okay? Selecting an area in which you are very knowledgeable, okay, and challenging. Communicate when to introduce inquiry, construct an overview, okay, of the entire area. How many lessons will you devote to the inquiry? How many lessons do you inquire per phase? Okay, and keep the experience, okay, and that the student will have in mind. So this is the plan. Okay, you can do it. Many studies have said that when there is the discussion, the practice by doing, okay, so the retention, okay, will be, okay, very high compared if just giving lecture, reading, well, audiovisuals. Which work better, deduction or induction? The deduction short-term retention, okay, but induction the long-term and transfer of knowledge. But no, you need to do it. Maybe let's say 20% of your curriculum. Now, some forms, okay, a short exercise in a class. It can be a whole class, okay, to do it as inquiry-based learning. It can be a whole semester, okay. I have now a class of strategic management, and we have in KFUPM initiated this inquiry-based learning. So every semester there are a number of courses within the university that apply to start this technique. I started this semester, and from day one, okay, the whole course was based on one question, okay, in strategic management: why some companies they succeed while the others they fail. And I let the students, okay, search about it, and we based, okay, the rest of the course based on their research. And from time to time, almost تقريبا 20% of the curriculum we do through the IBL. It can be also a whole program, okay. So when we introduce in schools or universities this technique little by little, okay, with every semester maybe one course, okay, math, physics, okay, chemistry, science, etc. Okay, so within maybe few years you will find that you have whole programs, okay, that use this IBL, and the shift will be from the traditional to the IBL, okay, very quickly. This website gives 10 ways to use inquiry-based learning in mathematics. Many ways, okay, to do it in different, okay, in different. There are some alternative, okay. Already some of the speakers they already talk about problem-based learning, project-based learning, case-based, okay, instruction, and the just-in-time teaching. So time is limited, okay, maybe another time. Here where, okay, this problem-solving, inquiry, and project they meet, okay, and the most important that the student is the center of the learning, which is very important. We are preparing our students for the job, knowing that the top skills sought by employers before it was reading, okay, computation and writing, but now interpersonal skills, problem solving, and teamwork, okay, that we can develop them by using the inquiry-based learning. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm glad to have or to receive any of your questions and to answer the questions.
Thank you for your session, Dr. Mourad. I have posted the questions on the Zoom link on the right-hand side. If you can read that and answer them. Thank you.
My little school, International Saudi Arabia, are there any useful websites with inquiry-based lesson plans? I think there are many, maybe websites, but the problem that still there are not that much, schools or universities that start this one. So it is a little bit limited, okay. There is not that much. Still, for example, here in our university, we start from last year, and still the results are not very clear, okay. So it will take some time, okay, to find. But if you search, maybe you can find some of these websites. How do you increase the possibility of students' engagement? Where can we refer the material or presentation after the event? Of course, the students' engagement is very important. And actually, through the IBL, you can engage him. So instead of just he's receiving, okay, through the IBL, he's engaged. He will go, he will search, he will come, he will discuss with his student, with his peers, okay, his colleagues in groups, okay, or by individuals. So this is really the engagement. How can teachers avail PD in this? What is PD? I'm not sure about it. Information technology has helped the educational system to evolve faster Do you think digitalization will have an impact on kids' interpersonal skills and social skills? If yes, how do we overcome this hurdle? Yeah, of course, the pandemic and, this online students, they are sitting at home. There is not that social skills. Again, the keyword, it is the engagement. So maybe through some activities that even you can do it online. You can engage students. They should also they need to engage in groups, maybe, or give them some activities they perform it, okay, by group, and this maybe will be the best solution to overcome this social problem. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry that took too much time. Thank you for the organizers of this great event, and hopefully we can keep in touch, anytime if you have any inquiry. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for sharing such valuable inputs. It was a pleasure having you with us today.